Welcome to Coleman Report Live. I'm Bob Coleman. We're talking Main Street and the small business lenders who help it grow. Lance and Delaney are in the house. There's your certificate. Download it. Keep track of your training. This came in from Joe, and he said, hey, now you could tell by the question, Lance, how old Joe is. He says, my phone's not ringing off the hook like it has in the past. All right. And he's saying, but what about demand? He said, the demand in my little area of the world seems to have fallen off. And he said, how is everyone else doing? And I said, Joe, that's a great poll question. And so tell us how you are doing.
Well, I think we're going to get a lot of people in to remain the same. I would agree.
Your answer, yeah.
Wow.
I would have gone, I would have been a little bit less on the increased. I would have gone two-thirds increased, and yeah, go ahead.
Well, I absolutely think there are reasons for that. I mean, there are reasons for it to have decreased, but there are also reasons for it to have remained the same or maybe increased a little bit. You know, small businesses have more overhead, more expenses. You know, I would expect a little more refinance activity. You know, refinancing higher rate debt into, and maybe I'm throwing an opportunity out there, you know, refinancing that higher rate debt that they may hold into an SBA loan at normal rates. But not surprised.
Yeah, very good. Number two, does the PPP borrower need to make payments? Lance, here we are assuming that we're after our 10-month deferral expiration. And now they've realized they need to have a forgiveness app, but SBA wants to review it. Does the PPP borrower, do we have to send out statements and have them make monthly payments after the deferment period? Yes, no, I have no idea.
I want to see. I want to see what they answered, and the answer is once a borrower submits for forgiveness, payments on the PPP loan are deferred until there's a decision made. And, you know, I know a lot of bankers or a lot of financial institutions are like, oh, that's not good. But the reality is SBA typically makes a decision quickly in 99% or more of the cases. There are those occasions when they review one and it takes a while. Or there are circumstances where the borrower appeals and it takes a while, but in a vast majority of the cases, in all cases, once a forgiveness application is submitted, the borrower is back on deferment until a decision is made.
Very good. Lance, you did a great job on Wednesday. Michael, go ahead and advance to Christie's comment. Let's finish up the PPP, then we'll let Delaney take over on Fraud Friday. Here's a question from Christy. Lance, this is really for you. I want to let you know that our bank really appreciated the webinar that we attended yesterday. We also appreciated the ability to ask questions, receive real-time feedback. Thank you for that, Christy. But here's a question. We did have one more question regarding a 1099 employee. Is it accurate that if a company applied for a PPP loan prior to April 10, 2020, that a dedicated 1099 employee could be included in their payroll calculations?
Christy, thank you for the trick question. No. So my understanding is that is correct. The application of it by SBA and some of the forgiveness applications is not completely consistent because 1099 employees when PPP first launched were not excluded. But all of a sudden they were, and SBA says the 1099 employee could get their own PPP loan. So I'm going to answer that with it depends on how SBA applies it once the forgiveness application is submitted, because with the huge number of PPP loans that we've done, I've done battle with SBA on this exact issue. Now, you know, the worst case scenario you might have is somebody who got a PPP loan and they didn't have any salaried W-2 employees. All their people were 1099. And it doesn't matter what date it is, that's going to get beat up by SBA. So the answer is yes, and no, depending on how SBA applies it. And I know that's a fuzzy answer, but I've seen it applied to different loans in two different ways. I'm just going to say thank you, Christy, and for everybody that's on the call today. We did a little different format because PPP has so many areas. It's just like this question. We actually talked about PPP forgiveness and guarantee purchase, and we stopped and paused for a while, let everybody ask questions. We had a ton of questions.
We had over 30 questions. Yeah, it was amazing.
Yeah, and we answered those questions, and I just think it was a neat format. And if everybody on the call today would like to see that done again, please let Bob or Joe know.
We have a question from, I'm going to try to pronounce this, Calippi. I love the name. And it says, we have a borrower that submitted an appeal to an SBA adverse action. It has already been since 9/5/21. That's almost a year. If they are requesting their billing to be suppressed during the appeal process, would be able to suppress it? I guess she's talking about payments. Do we need something from SBA?
Well, there's two things. There are three things about an appeal on a PPP loan that I need you to know, and then I'll be quiet. A, you, the financial institution, cannot file the appeal, nor should you try to. It's clear in SBA's IFR discussion on appeals. Two, an appeal is a loan that has a forgiveness application in that they are, once it's on appeal, if it's on appeal, payments are not required during the appeal process. However, as a financial institution, and I got a long list, once it's on appeal, you can file, if it's on appeal for 60 days or more, you can go ahead and apply for guarantee purchase on that. And in the drop-down box in the guarantee purchase section, there is an appeal was filed 60 days or more ago. And the beautiful part of that, Bob, is it's short. I mean, you don't have to wait for SBA and the customer to duke it out on the appeal and come to a final decision. Your institution can get paid, and then SBA and the customer will work out whatever the situation is. But I am on a daily basis submitting appeals that were filed 60 days or more ago for guarantee.
Lance, and you said that your belief is that appeals have a good chance of getting approved. Explain
if the borrower has good documentation. Now, if the borrower's just saying that's not fair, but there are a lot of circumstances where the forgiveness platforms don't supply SBA all the information they want, and maybe SBA requests information through a borrower, additional information needed request. You supply it as an institution. SBA doesn't agree with it, so they come back. The most common appeal that I've seen, guys, are on partial approvals, where SBA makes a determination maybe they didn't calculate the loan amount correctly originally. But the appeals that I've talked to the customers on, because they'll call me and want, hey, we know you can't file it, but can you listen to us and tell us if this is reasonable? The success rate has been very good on the ones that have decent documentation.
Very good, Lance. Well, let's thank you for that, Lance. Excellent job on Wednesday. A lot of great comments, and we appreciate all your comments. So that was very good. Let's switch to Fraud Friday. Delaney, you've been awfully quiet. What did Mr. Levy, or I guess also Ben Levy, let's go to that, the first story, Michael. And Lance, he took the money, and I love this. He didn't buy it. He rented an oceanfront apartment in Santa Monica. I
love Santa Monica.
Yeah, but he rented an apartment, which is, maybe he knew everything was going to be seized, so I don't know. Tell us what Robert did, Delaney.
So we actually talked about this case either at the beginning of the year or about a year ago, but he decided to apply for 27 PPP loans, asking for $27 million. He claimed he had employees, about 100 employees, almost $500,000 average monthly payroll, and he spread this across 8 different companies.
And how many employees did he have?
I'm not sure if any of these companies are real, and
He had none.
Probably a goose egg.
Go ahead.
There's an interesting quote, and I'm going to read it verbatim. The 3 companies that succeeded in getting loans had somewhat suspicious/goofy sounding names.
Not
Is that a legal term? I'm not familiar. I'll talk to my...
I'm not sure.
Well, and what were the names? Now you set us up. You have to tell us the names. Come on.
One, Stellar Health, LLC, Best Ways to Health, LLC, and Joyous Health for You, LLC.
Oh, I like that one. Joe, who doesn't want Joyous Health, Lance?
Guys, y'all haven't been working in PPP long enough. Those names are perfectly acceptable.
Now he applied for $27 million. He got $3 million in cash. Bank of America was the lender in this case. The banks that turned him down, who caught it, were Wells Fargo, U.S. Bank, and one other bank. And Web Bank through PayPal. So they all turned him down. Unfortunately, Bank of America was the first one at the table, and this was Lance. He did this in end of April 2020. This is right when this hit, and no one knew what was happening. And they made it clear in this, Delaney, and I want you to expand on this. They made it clear the lender is not responsible. What did the prosecutor say?
I am actually not sure about that. I apologize.
That was a softball question. I will. What they said is that this was based, the program had to get out quickly. And also it was based on the honesty of the
borrower.
applicant.
Yep.
And they made it clear that Bank of America had no liability in this because Bank of America followed the rules. And this gentleman had a history. He was supposedly a pharmacist, but he had a criminal history of other fraud. There were 3 or 4 other things that he had been convicted of. So instead of, he quickly got out of his computer and made up all these fake documents and got some money. And as I said, and Delaney, what did he use with the money? Normally they'd like to expand on that. They didn't do that, but what did he do with the cash?
So it was just personal expenses, paying off credit cards, pulling cash, transferring to other personal accounts, and then, of course, the renting an oceanfront apartment in Santa Monica.
Now, there's 2 comments I have on this, Lance, and I'll let you talk about. My first comment is, I don't like the headline that says $27 million PPP fraud. Well, it wasn't he didn't get that much money. He got $3 million, so that's number one. But the crime also, when you apply for the PPP, the other $24 million, that was a crime. The reason why he got 11 years was also because of his past criminal history. But the government, the people recovered, Delaney, I think it was $1.8 million. Does that sound right to you?
I believe so.
Yeah, so the government got, and again, he did not buy that oceanfront Malibu property. He just rented it, Lance.
Well, Santa Monica is certainly a favorite because when I come out and visit Bob and Joseph and Mike, and Delaney's made the trip several times, but we really love the Santa Monica area, but I'm not going to get a PPP loan to rent an oceanfront apartment there in Santa Monica.
What did, let's see, go to the next one. Delaney, set it up.
So I'm going to go with the nickname they essentially provided. David. They got a group together, allegedly, or no, they actually did get sentenced. I apologize. They managed to obtain $3 million in loan proceeds using fake documents. And the interesting thing is they actually had a WhatsApp group chat where they essentially discussed how to execute this loan fraud.
For those of us who don't know what WhatsApp is, what is WhatsApp?
It's very common with classes and certain businesses, but it's just a group chat, a way for a group of people to communicate.
Lance, I noticed you didn't chime in right away when I asked that question. So they openly talked about this. So there was a recovery factor. What was did they go into what the conversations were? Or they just said it was documented on how to do the fraud?
It was essentially, that was it, just documentation, how to falsify documents, inflating numbers.
So they submitted 63 applications, 17 were approved. They got $3 million. And is this the one he put in the stock market? Is this the one where he made all the money?
Yes. His decisions were interesting. I have thoughts on it, but I'm not sure if I should say what I think. But they used proceeds to invest in the stock market, fund a home construction project, travel to Cancun, purchase a vehicle, and pay for other personal expenses.
But is this the one where his $1.5 million, he was a great investment and he got $10 million? Or is that another case? I mean, am I confusing?
I think that might have been another case, but...
I love that one, Lance. He got money. Yeah. I think, let's say he got $2 million, he made $10 million. Guess what? He didn't get to keep the $8 million. The feds took it. So,
well, investing money obtained fraudulently is a bad call. And I will say investing money obtained fraudulently from a PPP loan into cryptocurrency, Bob, after my crypto experiment is not good. No.
I will say I think the trip to Cancun was possibly a wise decision if you're going to commit fraud. You can't really take back an experience.
Well, Lance, you opened the door. We have to. I know you lost a lot of money in crypto. You gotta come clean. How much did we lose the retirement fund, Lance?
Not really, guys. Being an older, gray-headed guy, decided to jump in and figure out what cryptocurrency was all about. I didn't get real wild. I bought some very normal crypto, and after my initial investment of $600 became about $200, I'm like, I don't think this is working for me anymore. So I am back to normal investing.
Okay, so you are that was a loss you can handle. We don't have to worry about Lance. We don't have to do a GoFundMe page for you, right?
Well, it's okay if you know. I'm just teasing, but it's. I kept reading about and I'm talking to young people who had made fortunes. I'm like, I'll throw a few dollars in there. Who knows? Maybe I can pay for a vacation. After about 7 months, I'm like, no, I can't do this.
All right. Very good. Hey, I want to remind everyone, please, Michael, put up the BDO event, BDOs of the year. Please submit those. The cutoff is July 31st. We're accepting nominations. We don't have a specific form on that. We're leaving it up to you. But we do like a little documentation. We would like a quote, some sort of documentation from senior management talking about numbers. We would like I love case studies if you're the BDO, instead of praising yourself, say, hey, this is something that I did and this is what it resulted in. Those are great stories. We like to read those. And those go very high in the judge's score. We have a webinar coming up in 2 weeks, Lance. We're going to be talking about screen outs. Why are we talking about screen outs? Why is that? Why do we care?
Well, anytime there's an area of the SOP 5010 that we're not certain about in processing an SBA loan, and we decide to submit it GP, I don't know how many loans people on the call today have submitted GP and not gotten a screen out, but my experience, majority of the time you'll get screen outs. There is a skill set to respond to those screen outs effectively and get the loan approved. So we're going to talk about those SBA screen outs, quick fixes, and how to help get your GP processed loans approved quicker.
And the date on that is wrong, Lance. We're not doing it next Wednesday. We're doing it August 3rd, I believe. We're doing it a week from Wednesday. So
Oh, and the other thing I would mention, Bob, the PPP webinar that we just did, I want to encourage, if there are people on the call today that did not get to participate, and you would like to either have it redone so you could have live Q&A, or if you want to buy a copy of it, I know Bob would be happy.
Oh, I love it. Very good. Very good. Thank you very much. And yes, and we do. That is available. We record everything, and that was fun. Hey, everyone, have a nice weekend. Thank you very much. Thank you for joining us today for Coleman Report Live and for supporting America's Main Street, one entrepreneur at a time.
Have a great weekend.
Have a great weekend.
Thank you for joining us today for today's episode. If you like today's content, hit that subscribe button to subscribe to our channel and click that bell icon to get notified about our latest videos. Thank you again for joining us today and for supporting America's Main Street, one entrepreneur at a time. Catch you next time.